Good evening. Am I audible to everyone? Krishna, good evening. Vaibhav, good evening. Mohan, good evening. Ananya, good evening. Am I audible to everyone? Yes, good evening everybody. Am I audible to everyone? Jose, good evening. Yes. So what I discussed with you yesterday? What I discussed with you yesterday is, good evening everybody. So what I discussed with you yesterday? Yes, I was discussing with you about different types of loops. So what are the different types of loops? Please explain me. So what is the use of looping statement? Yes, yesterday I was discussing with you about different types of loops. Decision making statements. Yes, what are the different types of decision making statements? Please respond. Yesterday I was discussing with you about loops concept. So what are the different types of loops? For loop. Yes, good evening everybody. Shreya, good evening. Harsh, good evening. Apurva, good evening. Yes, so in this 30 days masterclass, so it is going to be a 45 minutes every day. If you are going to spend 45 minutes, you will become a master in Java language. Yeah, I was discussing with you about different types of looping concepts. So I was discussing with you about for loop, while loop, and then do while loop. Yes, I gave you some examples. What is the use of for loop? What is the use of while loop and do while loop? Yes. So whatever I discussed with you yesterday, everything is clear? Yes, good evening everybody. So today I am going to continue. So yesterday I was discussing with you about different types of looping statements. Yes, good evening everybody. Today I am going to discuss with you about the remaining statements. Yeah, so looping statements. Whenever I want to execute a set of statements repeatedly for a set number of times, I can go for a loop statement. So today I am going to discuss with you about break statement. So what is the use of going for this break statement? So break statement, it is used to break the current flow of the program and transfer the control to the next statement outside a loop. So this is what is called as a break statement. So whenever a person is driving a car or he is doing some other type of operation, so what do you mean by braking concept? So I want to break from the current loop and I want to go to the next loop. So that remaining part of my program will not get executed. So that is the main use of going for this break statement. So for example, I am fetching some 10 employee records or I am fetching some 10 student records. So whenever I am fetching some records from the database, so I want to print only the 5 student records. So I have to, the remaining 5 records should not be printed at the browser. So in that case, I can go for a break statement. Clear with this? So what is the use of different types of statements? So what makes this programming language so very powerful? Today everything is becoming online. Clear with this? So everything is online websites. For example, you can consider a banking management system, a restaurant, hospital. So in whichever sector you go, so it can be applied across a variety of industries. So whenever I am developing different types of applications, so based on my requirement, I can go for different types of statements. So next I'm going to discuss with you about ternary operators. So what do you mean by this ternary operator? So for example, so far I was discussing what is the use of simple if statement, decision making statements, right? So what is the use of simple if statement? What is the use of if else structure? So what is the use of nested if structure? So if else if, I was discussing with you about different types of decision making statements. Say for example, what do you mean by nested if? So having an if condition, if I want to check more than one condition, I can go for if statements. So nested if. So different types of logical operators, logical and right. So if I want to check more than one condition, I can go for nested if. Similarly, what is the use of going for ternary operators? So within a single statement, if I want to check for some condition, I can go for this ternary operator. Clear with this? So what is the use of? So all these are the different types of statements available in Java language. So let me just discuss with you about ternary operators. So firstly, I will just give you some brief example of ternary operators so that you will understand this better. So this is my example. So as I was telling you, right? So this is my NetBeans IDE. So already I have installed my NetBeans IDE. So inside this, whenever I want to create any new class, this is my source package. So I am just closing everything. Just right click and there is an option to create a new Java class. So whenever I want to create a new class, just right click. There is an option called new option and I am going to create a new Java class. So I am just giving the class name. For example, I am just giving here as ternary example 3. So whatever is the class name, so under this class name, I need to give the corresponding class name and under which project I am going to create this class. Say for example, I am going to create this class under this project and under which location. So after providing all these details, I need to click the finish button. Clear with this? So for example, this is my example. So firstly, I am just saying, so always whenever the program execution, when I was discussing with you about the components of Java, so I was discussing with you about the different components of Java. So what is the use of going for JDK, Java Development Kit? And what is the use of going for JRE, Java Runtime Environment? And I was discussing JVM. So whenever I want to execute any of my Java programs, so firstly the JVM comes in, the program execution starts from the main method. So inside this, I am just giving here as public static void main. The argument is passed as a string of space args. The argument is passed as a string array. So just click the save file. So for example, inside this, I am just giving here. So firstly, I am just initializing this integer variable. So string, for example, I am just giving here as num. So whatever I want, I am just checking here. So firstly, this is how my ternary operator goes like. So I am just checking for a condition. Number is greater than 5. So I am going to print some message. Say for example, I am just printing something. So inside this, I am just giving here as number is greater than 5. So otherwise, I am going for the else section. So I am just giving here as number is less than 5. Clear with this? So whenever I want to initialize any statement, so I am just giving here. So string number equal to or string output equal to. So whatever I want, I am just initializing like this. Clear with this? So here I am just giving here as question mark. So this is the example of ternary operator. So far I was discussing with you about a simple if statement. So whenever I want to check for some condition, so I can go for a simple if statement. And there are different types of if statements. So if this condition is satisfied, some statements will be executed, otherwise the executed. And I can go nested if. So what do you mean by this nesting operation? So having an if statement within if statement. So all these are the different types of if conditions. So there is one more type of operator. It is called as a ternary operator. So what do you mean by this ternary operator? So within a single statement, I want to check for some condition. Say for example, I am just giving here like this. So number is greater than 5. So this is my conditional expression question mark. So something will be printed at my output. So number is greater than 5. This will be printed at my output. So colon, the else part, number is less than 5. This will be printed at the output. So I am just giving here. So whenever I want to print something at my output, so num, so this will be printed at my output. Clear with this? So this is a simple example of ternary operator. For example, I want to check the voter eligibility. So I am going to develop an online voting website. Or I want to develop an online hospital website, restaurant website. So whatever type of websites I want to develop. So firstly, I am going to check for some. Clear with this? So within whenever the person's age is greater than this, something will be displayed. Otherwise, the else part will be displayed. Clear with this? So what are the different types of decision making? So based on my requirement, there is one more type of decision making statement. It is called as a switch and case statement. So this is an example of ternary operator. So what is the syntax for using a ternary operator? So within this simple brackets, I am giving a simple expression. So for example, I am just giving here as number is greater than 5. Question mark. If this condition is satisfied, so the first expression will be executed. For example, number is greater than 5 will be executed. Otherwise, colon else part will be executed. Clear with this? So firstly, I am just initializing this number variable. So always the program execution starts from the main method. So the JVM comes in, so always the Java virtual machine comes in, so always the program execution starts from the main method. So inside this, I am just giving here public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array, string of space args. So string number equal to, firstly I am just checking for some expression. So number is greater than 5. So firstly I am checking for some expression. So question mark, the first statement will be executed, colon the else part will be executed. Clear with this? So what is the use of going for this kind of decision making statement? So this is an example of ternary operator. So till this part, whatever you are able to see my screen. Output you want me to zoom out. So you are able to see my screen, output. Krishna, right? So I have zoomed my output, you are able to see my output. So all these are the different types of statements. So I was discussing with you about ternary operators. Next I am going to discuss with you about switch statement. So this is one more important decision making statement. So what is the use of going for this switch statement? So whenever I want to check multiple conditions, so instead of so far I was discussing with you about a simple if statement, I was discussing with you about a if else structure, nested if structure. So next I am going to discuss with you about switch statement. So what is the use of going for this switch statement? For example, whenever I want to create any new class, I am just giving the class name. So under which project, for example, under this web application 2, so I need to create this class. So I need to provide the location where I need to create this class, and then I am clicking the finish button. Clear with this? So inside this, whenever I want to create a main method, so I am just giving here as public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. String of space args. So let me just write this example and let me just explain whatever I am trying to say here. So remove the unwanted spaces. So I am going to discuss with you like this. So whenever I want to create any new class, I need to use the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So it is prepended by this public access modifier. So I am going to discuss with you about different types of access modifiers. I can go for public access modifier, protected, private. So inside this, I am just giving here as public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. String of space args. So whenever I want to initialize any choice variable, so I am just initializing a choice variable. So I am just giving like this. So in choice equal to 1. So whenever I want to switch to any choice, I am using the switch keyword, and choice, this is passed as a parameter to my switch. So based on my choice parameter, any of these case blocks. For example, case 1. So I am printing something, number is 1. So I am just breaking. So what is the use of break statement? So whenever I want to skip, for example, after printing this, it will be break from this case. So I am just giving here as case 2, the number is 2, I am just breaking. So when none of the case blocks are matched, by default, the default block will be executed. So choice does not match any of the case statements. Clear with this? So this is one more. For example, whenever I want to write any statement, so switch statement, this is one more type of decision making statement. So whenever I want to use this switch statement, so I need to use the switch keyword and this choice. This is passed as a parameter to my switch statement. So I am just giving here case blocks. So based on the choice, whatever I am passing here, it goes to different case blocks. So whenever case 1 is matched, system.out.println, so I am just giving here, the number is 1. So I am going to run this file, you can see here. So based on whichever case blocks, the choice parameter, this is passed as a argument to my switch statement. So if it matches case 1, it goes to case 1, the number is 1, this will be printed and it will exit from the first case. So and then it goes to the second case block, so the number is 2, this will be, and by default, when none of the case blocks matches, it goes to the default block and the default block will be executed. Clear with this? For example, I am giving the number as 10. So you need to save this file, just right click and there is an option to run this file. So none of the case block matches, so choice any of the case statements. Clear with this? So till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. Any doubts so far? So I was discussing with you about different types of decision making statements. So firstly, I just gave you some examples of ternary operators and then I discussed with you about switch statement. So what is the use of switch statement? And based on the condition, any one of the cases will be executed. So a break statement, whenever I want to go for multiple choices. So based on whichever choice block, case blocks it matches, the corresponding case blocks will be executed. Clear with this? So what is the use of going for switch statement? So you can imagine, so whenever I am developing something, so based on my requirement, whenever I want multiple else blocks, multiple case blocks, I can go for switch statement. Clear with this? So whenever I want to calculate some, for example, an employee bonus, so I am initializing an employee salary. So for example, whenever the salary is this, the employee will be getting this amount of bonus. Or when the salary varies, for example, when the salary is 20,000, it goes to case 2, accordingly the employee will be getting a different bonus. So based on my development or design or application, you can imagine, so I was discussing with you about different types of concepts. So what is the use of simple if statement? So whenever you are developing a bigger website or application, so based on my requirement, I can go different types of statements in Java language. So clear with this? So what is the use of going for this switch statement? So when none of the case blocks matches, by default, the default block will be executed. So I was discussing with you about different types of decision making statements. So till this part, everything is clear. Yes, Kishore, tomorrow I will just show you. I will just give you some runtime inputs. Yeah, I will give you some runtime inputs. Tomorrow I will just show you some examples. Surely for tomorrow I will just show you some examples using runtime, that is by giving some runtime examples. Krishna, I have shared the example code, right? You are not able to understand? Yes, Yashwant, only the string argument. See, when I am going to pass it as a string argument from the main method, the program execution starts from the main method. So whenever I am going to give the string, the array, string array is argument is passed as a string array. So whenever I am giving some string, argument is passed as a string array, so it can accept any type of arguments. Clear with this? Whenever I am going to change the data type, say for example, if I am going to give integer or float, only it can handle. When I am going to give this as string, so it can accept any type of arguments. So any more doubts? So what is, you want me to show the switch statement, Krishna? Yes, I will just show you. So you are able to see the switch statement example. You are able to see the switch statement example. Please respond. Nested if statement having an if statement within another if statement. So this is my output screen. I have shared the screen as well as this is my output screen. What is your doubt regarding nested if statement? So having an if statement within another if statement. Yes? Yeah, so till this part everything is clear. So I was discussing decision making statements and all those other type of statements. If you are interested, you can go to InstaMojo, register for Java Full Stack Internship Program, JFSMC3. This is the coupon code. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the PPTs, the recorded videos, the project files, how the projects are being developed. You will be gaining more practical knowledge. Once you attend this masterclass for 25 days, you will be receiving a free webinar certificate, and the internship users, they will be receiving a internship certificate as well as participation certificate. If you are interested, you can go to InstaMojo and you can register for Java Full Stack Internship Program JFSMC3. This is the coupon code. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the PPTs, the recorded videos, the project files, how the projects are being developed. You will be gaining more practical knowledge. Once you attend this masterclass for 25 days, you will be receiving a free webinar certificate, and the internship users, they will be receiving an internship certificate as well as a participation certificate. So clear with this, you can just join as an internship user. So what is the benefits of this internship? So you'll be getting 30 days of live sessions. So I will be giving you a practical demo of all the projects. And finally, you will be getting an internship certification. So clear with this. So till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. Any doubts so far? So this is what we are going to see in this 30 days masterclass. So firstly, I will be discussing with you about the core Java concepts. So what is the use of going for comments, looping statements, decision making statements. So and then I will be discussing, firstly I will be discussing with you about the Java concepts. And then I will be discussing with you about HTML. What do you mean by hypertext markup language? What are all the different types of tags and attributes available in HTML? So and then I will be giving you some introduction to servlets. So what is the use of going for servlets? I will be discussing with you about the servlet concepts. I will be giving you some examples, practical examples using servlets. So and then I am going to discuss with you about MySQL, the database section, how to create database, how to create tables, insert records, delete records. So I am going to discuss with you about the database section. And then I will be discussing with you about JDBC, Java Database Connectivity, how to connect Java with the database. And finally, I will be giving you some examples, how to develop websites using Java. Clear with this? So till this part, whatever, please enroll for internship. So you will be getting the Java concepts, and I will be discussing end-to-end how to develop the front-end pages using HTML and how connect the JSP pages to the servlets and how it is being stored in the database. So till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. Any doubts so far? So I was discussing with you about different types of comments. So what is the use of commenting in Java language? What are the different types of comments? So next I am going to discuss with you about arrays. So till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. So next I am going to discuss with you about arrays. So what do you mean by arrays? So whenever I want to store some collection of integers, I want to store a collection of strings, characters, I can go for this arrays concept. Clear with this? Say for example, I want to store a collection of integers. So you can see there are different types of arrays. There are two different types of arrays. One is called as a single dimensional array. One more is called as a multi-dimensional array. So what do you mean by this arrays concept? So whenever I want to store some collection of elements, for example, a collection of integers. Say for example, I am storing some 5 array, 10, 20, 30, 40 and then 50. So the array is pointing to this. So this is called as a one-dimensional array, single-dimensional array. Clear with this? So there is one more type of array. It is called as a multi-dimensional array. So this is one simple array example. Whenever I want to create any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So it is prepended by the public access modifier. So I can go for different types of access modifier. So it is prepended by the public access modifier. And inside this, the JVM comes in. The program execution always starts from the main method. So I am just giving here as public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. So string of space args. And inside this, I am just initializing this number array. So new integer of 5, for example, I am giving the data type as integer. So number array of 0, for example, I am initializing some 5 numbers inside my integer array. So whenever I want to initialize some value, so this is how I am initializing some value. So what is the corresponding syntax for creating a single dimensional array? So I need to give the data type. So whatever is the data type, I am just giving the data type as integer data type. So whatever is the name of my array, I am giving here as number array. So open bracket and close bracket, new int of 5. So inside this, whenever I want to initialize this array, so I am just giving here as num array of 0, 1, 2, 3 and then 4. So I am storing some 5 elements inside my array. So whenever I want to iterate, I am using the for keyword, and inside this, so what is the syntax for using a for loop? So I am just giving here as int I equal to 0. So I less than num array dot length I plus plus. So if I want to print something at my output, so I am just giving here as system.out.println, so num array of I. So I am picking each and every element from this number array, and this will be printed at the output. So clear with this? So what is the use of going for this arrays? So whenever I want to create any array, so there is a source package, just right click and I am going to create a new Java class. So under this class name, so I need to give the corresponding class name and under which project. For example, under this project I need to create, and then I am clicking the finish button. So I am just giving here as public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array, string of space args. So I am just giving here. So whenever I want to initialize any array, so I am just giving here as num array. So I am just initializing this array equal to new num array of new int of 5. So I am just initializing this number array. For example, I am just giving here as num array of 0. So I am storing some values inside my array. Clear with this? So I am just giving here as num array of 1. So it is pointed by different indices. So I am just giving here as num array of 2. So I am having different types of indices. I am giving here as num array of 3. And then I am giving here as num array of 4. So I am storing different elements inside my number array. Clear with this? So how I'm storing some different elements, it is whenever I'm going to store something inside my array, so this is how elements are arranged in my array. For example, I'm just going to show you. This is my single dimensional array. For example, I'm storing some 5 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4 and then 5. I'm storing some 5 elements inside my array. So this is my 0th index. So on my 0th index, for example, I'm having 1. So this is my first index. Say for example, I'm just giving the index name as 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and then 5. So this is my second index. So 3, 4 and then 5. So this is how the elements, so this is called as a single dimensional array. For example, I am going to store a collection of integers. So you can see here the array indexing starts from 0. So whenever I want to store some elements inside my array, so using the array name, so within square brackets I need to give the corresponding index location. So I am giving the index location as 0. So under 0, so I am giving here as 10, 1, 2, 3, 4. So after providing all these details, so I am just giving here as for. So int I equal to 0. So I less than. So num array of length. So I plus plus. So clear with this, so how I am initializing this single dimensional array. So whenever I want to print something at my console, so I am just giving here as system.out.println. So system.out.println. So the I value will be printed at the output. So just save this example. So firstly, whenever I want to create any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So it is prepended by this public access modifier. And inside this, I am just coming inside, I am giving here as main method public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. So whenever I want to create any array, so I am having the data type followed by the name of the array. Clear with this? So I am just initializing some values and I am putting to an iterator for loop, and this will be displayed at my output. Clear with this? So what are the different elements that are present in my number array, and this will be displayed at my output. So I am just giving here as num array of I. So you can just see here, for example, there are 5 elements inside my number array, and this will be printed at the output. For example, 10, 20, 30, 40 and then 50. Clear with this? So this is an example of single dimensional array. So similar to single dimensional array, so there is one more type of array. It is called as a multi-dimensional array. So whenever I want to store my elements in the form of a matrix, rows and columns, I can go for this multi-dimensional array. So inside this, whenever I want to create any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So it is prepended by different types of access modifiers. And inside this, whenever I want to create any main method, so I am just giving here as public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. So how I am initializing this multi-dimensional array? So whatever is the data type followed by the name of the array. So I'm just giving the array name. So you can see here, the first dimension is the row dimension and the second dimension is the column dimension. So within this curly brace, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and then 7, 8, 9. So they are separated by comma. And whenever I want to print this multi-dimensional array at the output, so I am having two for loops. So the first one controls the row dimension and the second one controls the column dimension. So let me just give you one example. So whenever I want to create a new Java class, so I am just giving here as multi-array example. So whenever I want to create any new class, so I need to give the class name. For example, under this web application 2, I need to create this class and I have to provide the location where I need to create this class. So whenever I am creating any new class, I need to provide all these details and then I am clicking the finish button. Clear with this? So what is the use of going for this multi-dimensional array? 1 minute. So for example, I am just giving here as multi-array example. So whatever is the name, I am just giving the name here. So just click the save button. So inside this, the program execution always starts from the main method. So I am just giving here as public static void main. The argument is passed as a string of space args. Whenever I want to initialize any array, so first I need to give the corresponding data type and the name of the array. So I am having this open square bracket and close square bracket. For example, I am storing some elements inside my array. So I am just using this for loop. So for int I equal to 0, I less than 3 and then I plus plus. So again I am having this outer for loop and then I am having this inner for loop. So in j equal to 0, j less than 3 and then j plus plus. So I am picking the first for loop controls the row dimension. So I have 3 rows and 3 columns. So I am picking them by the rows and columns and I am picking each and every element present in my matrix and this will be displayed at my output. So clear with this? So based on my requirement, I can go for a dimensional array or I can go for a multi-dimensional array. So just right click and there is an option to run the file. So clear with this? So I am just displaying them in the form of a matrix. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and then 7, 8, 9. Clear with this? So it is just displayed in the form of rows and columns. So this is an example of multi-dimensional array. So based on my requirement, I can go for a single dimensional array or I can go for a multi-dimensional array. So with this, I am just stopping today. So any queries or any doubts, you can just ask me. I hope I am clear with whatever I have explained today. If you are interested, you can go to InstaMojo and can register for Java Full Stack Internship Program, JFSMC3. This is the coupon code. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the PPTs, the recorded videos, the project files, how the projects are being developed. You will be gaining more practical knowledge. Once you attend this masterclass for 25 days, you will be getting a free webinar certificate. And the internship users, they will be getting an internship certificate as well as a participation certificate. If you are interested, you can go to InstaMojo and you can register for Java Full Stack Internship Program JFSMC3. This is the coupon code. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the PPTs, the recorded videos, the project files, how the projects are being developed. You will be gaining more practical knowledge. Once you attend this masterclass for 25 days, you will be receiving a free webinar certificate. And the internship users, they will be receiving an internship certificate as well as a participation certificate. So any doubts? I hope I am clear. Today I just started with ternary operators and switch statements. So and then I gave you some examples about how to use arrays. Tomorrow I will just continue. So any doubts? Alright then. So if everything is clear, I am just closing this session. Remaining things we will see tomorrow. Same time, same link. Thank you all.